You are now watching Bleav. Do you believe?
And welcome into a brand new edition of the Bleav and Carolina Panthers podcast here on the Bleav Podcast Network. Desmond Johnson, Jonathan Stewart, Schuyler, Callihan here with you. Two shows a week now as we're in season. Every Thursday, you'll catch our preview episode, which is right here. And we got a great one for you today. Too soon. Is Matt Rhule on the hot seat after week one of the 2022 NFL season? We'll chop that up. Panthers versus Browns, Sunday, 1 p.m. on Fox. We'll give you our preview and keys to that game from each of us, plus predictions. And then a new segment that we're going to roll out every Thursday. Tell them why you're mad. It's a way for us to flush whatever happened last week. Doesn't necessarily have to be Panther related, but it does have to be football related. NFL, college football, something that one of us saw that just got us frustrated and angry. We'll get all that out and we'll start off the show with that. But before we get into that, we need to get a word in from one of our sponsors at Bet Online. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, and events with first to market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BLEAV50, that's BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts, and where we start this Thursday and every Thursday going forward is our Tell Them Why You're Mad segment. And guys, I think the three of us have stuff that we want to get off our chest from what we saw over the past week. So without further ado, we're going to tell you why we're mad.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why we mad, son.
And we're going to start off with Jonathan Stewart here.
Now listen here, man.
Get in there.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why we mad, son.
Let me tell you, son. The Denver Broncos.
Oh boy. You went right for it.
Let's ride. I
was waiting for somebody.
Let's ride. Let this man, Russell Wilson, and Russ we trust, let him ride. Let's rewind. You have 55 seconds on the clock. Okay? 55. Why are you taking 30 seconds to call a timeout? 30 seconds. End of the game. That's what you didn't practice. You didn't do this in practice. Situational football. You a head coach, but you don't know situational football. Like, what's up, man? And the reason why I'm hot is because you got guys that bust their tail throughout a whole entire football game, getting beat up, and you on the sideline just picking your nose. When you didn't pay Russell Wilson, listen, you paid Russell Wilson $200 and however million, a lots of money. And I say a lot of money because it's a lot of money for you to go out there and win a football game, or at least give him the opportunity. You as a head coach, you got to put your players in the best position to win a football game. He didn't do the job. So whatever he do this week, he better hope he win, because if I'm the owner, if I'm in that front office, you got some explaining to do.
I know the coach is a rookie and it's his first year.
Nah, ain't no such thing as rookie. When you in the professional football league, when you in NFL, the coaches tell the players, yeah, you a rookie when you got drafted. After you got drafted, you're a pro.
You know, the crazy thing, the reason why I dislike Russell Wilson so much is because he's so good at moving the chains when you least expect him to move the damn chains. Like I used to call him 3rd and 14 because it felt like that was his thing. He would get to 3rd and 14, whatever play they ran in Seattle broke down. Wilson's running around in the backfield. And he'll chuck it to Doug Baldwin or somebody that's 2 yards beyond the pin and keep the drive going. Why would you pay him $250 million?
Listen, every time I watch Russell Wilson on, a big game, big night, I'm always on my phone getting ready to text somebody. Here he go again. He about to come back. He about to throw this touchdown Jesus bomb. Like, I was expecting something like
that. What he does. That's what he does. Yeah.
I mean, I know he don't play for the Seahawks no more, but hey, let's ride.
Yeah, let him cook. Let Russ cook.
Let that man cook, man. He got too much. He got too much money, man. He over there, man. Let that man cook some tomahawk steaks, man.
A lot of a lot of coaches getting second guessed from decisions from this past Sunday in the NFL in particular. There was a lot of weird calls that were going on there. Schuyler, tell them why you mad, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son. I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
Man, I've got to go to the college ranks, and I hate to do this because talking about West Virginia, and not just West Virginia losing to Kansas, but overtime rules in college football are terrible. I don't understand it. It's something that's been needing to be changed for a long time. Why do you go the entire game having to go the entire length of the field, and then you get to overtime and you start the ball at the 25-yard line? Why? You're taking one section of the game and saying this is how you got to win the game. Red zone offense, red zone defense. That's how you have to win the game? Like, that's how you're really determine games. This isn't the NHL shootout. Like, this is a real freaking football game that you're trying to get. I hate the overtime rules. It has to be fixed. I don't know when it will be fixed. Probably never, because it's all about player safety, and I don't understand that either. If these guys want to play in the professional ranks, they're going to have to be playing 17-plus games. They're going to have to go the full length of the field in overtime.
Yep.
So I don't get it.
Yeah, man. If you sign up to play football, you sign up to play football.
Yeah.
Deal with the other stuff later.
Yeah.
Short of 20-yard line, you might as well be playing two-hand touch. Like,
right.
I never understood those. I never understood why they did that in college football. Like, I just never understood okay, we're going to put you here. Because they do it in high school football, too, where basically it's just goal line. You just start off right there. Almost, I guess, an attempt to get the game over faster, but usually it prolongs the whole game.
I don't really know why either. They need to just go ahead and just do the thing like they do in the pros, man. It's standard.
And even
then, there's some fluffiness there that's going on.
Because they're still kind of messing with it a little bit in the pros in terms of how they do it. So, that's a good one. That's a good
to
one.
make it worse, they even put a new rule in this year. I think it's after the second overtime. They do the or they just alternate 2-point tries. And I'm like, so you get one play? Like,
I mean, the Buffalo Bills game last year. Was it the Buffalo? Yeah.
Yeah, Buffalo, Kansas City. Yeah.
That had me hot.
Like, I didn't even get a chance to touch the ball. Like,
I feel like everyone in the world is a Buffalo Bills fan underneath their skeleton.
I mean,
because
former Panther people. Like, I thought we're intertwined with Buffalo, so I kind of root for them. Because I'm like,
Panthers North.
Yeah, Panthers North. What we call them, Panthers North. Mine, I'll just address the elephant in the room, and it's the fake spike from last week in this Carolina Cleveland game.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son. I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
So I was cool with it when we did our episode on Monday. I'm like, all right, I feel all right. But by the time I got off of that episode that we did and made the mistake of going back on Twitter and just kind of poking around, by yesterday, I realized that we weren't the only ones that realized that the refs had made a mistake. Like, everyone was like, oh, yeah, they missed that call. That was 10 yards and it was 10-second runoff and a loss of down or whatever. No, it was 10 yards and something. It was bad. It was going to be bad for Cleveland either way. It would have kept them out of field goal range. It wouldn't have been anywhere. They would have been like near midfield, or right at midfield, or right past it. And the fact that the ref, I was trying to find the audio before we started, but the thing that got me hot was somebody found the clip of the ref explaining it, where he gets on the mic in front of Brian Burns, and Brian Burns' reaction is the funniest to all of this because he's just standing there at the ref, like with his hands out, like, dude, did you hear what you just said? Like, literally, the ref is like, there's no penalty on the play. The player fake spiked the ball, and then he spiked it. And then he just runs away. And you're like, that's the rule. You just said the rule out loud.
Do you hear the words that are coming out of your mouth?
What are you talking about? So then they trot out a guy and he kicks a 58-yard field goal. So it made it it's the first time in a long time where a loss for Carolina has marinated with me throughout the week. And I felt bad about it the further away from the game we've gotten. Usually it's the reverse. Usually, you can kind of get away from it, look forward to the next week. I'm still lingering on, man, they could have won that football game. But
because Desmond on Monday, you was like, I woke up not feeling too bad.
Yeah.
So like you were like sitting there like feeling pretty good, like a fresh steak, cut steak, and then you just you let the salt. Then the salt came and just start tingling you.
Start thinking about it,
marinating it. And you start thinking about it. And now you hot.
And Twitter helped. The Twitterverse helped with all the. I mean, it ain't even Panther fans. They were just looking at, like, yeah, the refs messed up. Oh, that's a fake spike. Oh, look at him. He's looking at Amari Cooper. Like all this stuff that I didn't even catch the first time. And I'm like, you know what? They're right. They are completely and totally right. Yeah. So that's what I'm still mad about. Hopefully, I won't have to have a Panther one for next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
So we'll have that every Thursday because there's always something that we can figure out.
There's always something.
Yeah, we'll do our Player Haters Club every Thursday and tell you why we're mad. Too soon. This week, the question is Matt Rhule in the hot seat? I know Schuyler's been Schuyler has gone through so many internet battles about this dude with people on Facebook and Twitter. He'd write an article for Sports Illustrated telling everybody to chill and just would get beat down by people in Panther groups like, dude, this dude's horrible. He sucks. He don't know what he's doing. Did you guys see anything Sunday that made you kind of go, maybe we should seriously consider? Now, to lay this out before I turn this over to y'all, I think he's still got Scott, like 3 years left on this deal?
4.
Well, 4 this year. I have no idea what that buyout would be, but I would imagine it would have to be like 40 million, 35 million, something like that at this point. That's a lot. That's a whole lot to pay a coach that's not coaching.
Hey, Desmond, I'll just say this. Well, I mean, just think about this. David Tepper's got $170 million worth of steel on the ground in South Carolina right now, not doing anything with it.
That's true. And doesn't like he will. Like literally started building a clubhouse and just abandoned it. Like but his Tepper money's different money. Like, so we're sitting there saying that's a lot of money, but to him, that's like a trip to Burger King, I guess. So
I will say, man, Matt Rhule needs to win.
That's another too soon question. Is this a must-win game?
Yes.
I think every game is a must-win.
That's a good answer.
You know what I'm saying? Every game has to be that mentality. You can't just – tomorrow's not promised. You know what I'm saying? You get up every day, that sun's coming up. So regardless of what your situation is, the sun's coming up. Someone's out there trying to get that money. Someone's trying to come out there and get that win. Someone's trying to get to the Super Bowl. Like, who is it going to be? Is it going to be you? So every week is a must-win win. So that needs to be his mentality. That needs to be a sense of urgency. I'm not saying panic, but I'm saying you got to develop the culture and the mindset around there to win games. And I'm sure that's what they're doing. I mean, you got Baker Mayfield in there for a reason, to really kind of get that thing rolling. You know, his energy level on offense, what I hope to see this week is some of that. But I'm not going to put him on the hot seat, but I hope that he feeling some type of way about these losses.
Like I said Tuesday, you know, the way that game started, it was terrible, right? I mean, everything that went wrong did go wrong, or could go wrong, went wrong. And as the game went on, I think things got a little bit better. The offense settled down. Like I said before, I think had that game been flipped, where they came out to a hot start and kind of wore down and things went, hit the fan, I think that'd be more concerning than the way things transpired, where they figured things out and got better as the game went on. So to me, I don't think he did anything, or really anybody on this team did anything that would make you concerned or feeling panicked about heading into week 2.
Mm-hmm.
Those things happen again, where the slow starts become a theme. That's the problem. Right. But I think what we saw in the last, 25, 30 minutes of the game, there's some promise there. So is this a must-win game? Like Jay Stu said, yes, 100%. Every game is. But again, I know coaches and players, they don't want to look ahead. They want to focus on the game that's ahead of them. But you got to look ahead as a fan, or as us just sitting here, we can look ahead. We don't have to worry about Sunday, right?
Yeah, we out of that wheelhouse. I ain't got to worry about nothing.
Either way, we're gonna be fine.
Look ahead. There's 3 or 4 games after this week.
I think my problem right now is that every Monday when I wake up and I get on Twitter, my head coach is trending on Twitter. And it always makes me wonder, is this the day? Is this what it happened? Did it go down? Like every Monday, my man is trending on Twitter. And I'm like, we're not even winning football games. My man is trending every time when I click it to go see what it is, it's fire Matt Rhule, fire Matt Rhule, fire Matt Rhule. Like literally, like the Panther fan base is at its wits end with this guy. And yes, winning cures all ills, but I'm having an issue with he tends to contradict himself like a lot. The one thing he said in the post game last week that was really bothered me, I probably should have put it and tell you why I'm mad, but he was talking about how this is a passing league. You need to pass to win football games. He was trying to explain why they had left Christian McCaffrey basically out of the offense in the first half and didn't really run the ball. That didn't really explain why Christian McCaffrey didn't touch the ball, because the dude can catch the ball better than most wide receivers. So he still wasn't getting targeted. So that didn't really explain it there. And then, Schuyler, do you remember this last year when McCaffrey was out and Rhule was in the press conference saying that, I think it was the Minnesota game, where he was saying that they wanted to run the ball like 30-something times a game. They want to be a run-first offense, defensive-minded, smart, tough-nosed football team. And then for him to say Sunday evening that they want to be a pass-first, basically, football team, completely contradict. Like, what are you building? Like, I can't figure out. And you mentioned this on Monday, Stu. What is the identity of this team? Like, I don't know. Do they want to be a run team? Do they want to be a pass team? That Cleveland team that came in here on Sunday, they are a run-first, defensive-minded football team. You know it from the first snap, like what they are. I don't know what we are. Do you guys have any idea?
I think what we got to realize is that, Ben McAdoo, man, he's a West Coast offense, right?
Yeah.
What we got to take into consideration in history, man, when he was with the Giants, he was passing the ball. They passed the ball majority of the time. Like, I read somewhere Giants fans that was hating them for a little bit because they wasn't running the ball as much.
Yeah, they're used to pounding the rock with a big offensive line.
Yeah. So I mean, with the West Coast offense, the piece that you need is for your offensive line to gel. This was the first game for us. New starting quarterback. All these things that have to go hand in hand on the first game. As you see, we had a slow start. So I attribute that, to our slow start, that it's a West Coast offense. They're going to come out passing. Now, it's going to be a lot of, short to mid-range throws, trying to, pick up pieces there and whatnot, making up for the run balance, right? But you got to make sure you put the ball in the hands of Christian, because he's your dog. DJ Moore's your dog. We got to figure that balance. I know you West Coast guy, but hey, sometimes you got to,
adjust,
especially in a game like that.
It kind of feels like they did at halftime because they started going more vertical down the field. And now, granted, some of that was on Cleveland just messing up secondary assignments. There was a lot of that's the weird part about that game. There was a lot of was a handful, about 4 or 5 plays that were beyond 20 yards for the Panthers. And we're not used to that in the Matt Rhule offense the past 2 years. We haven't really seen that. Now, granted, one of McCaffrey's long gains was on one of those botched snaps that Elflein and Baker were going through all day Sunday. Are either of you guys worried about that at all? Because there was an obscene amount of botched snaps on Sunday, like 4 or 5 of them.
I've never seen that. I usually see it in practice here and there, like just focus or whatnot, but I've never seen that, and I hope to not see it again.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that has been a point of emphasis. So I ain't even gonna talk about it because I don't want that bad juju out there.
We do have a knack of bringing that upon them whenever we mention something like that on this episode.
Because I will say that game you're referencing last year, ironically, was actually the Giants game.
And they got stomped in that game, didn't they?
Yeah. When he said they were going to go in there, run the ball 30, 35 times, and it just didn't.
No. And I think they used the excuse of they got behind early or something like that. But I think the final was like 28-3 in the end, but they weren't like blowing them out the whole game. They just were dominating.
They panicked.
They panicked and just started trying to throw it everywhere. But by that point, I don't know who was quarterback at that point last year.
It was Sam, and then he got yanked in the second for PJ. But you got to remember, that game for the longest time was like 5-3. It was
it was a really weird game. Yeah,
first downs, nothing.
That was one of Sam's worst games last year, if I remember. He had an awful day. For PJ to come in, at that point, yeah, you're right. And then maybe I'm just too old school, or maybe I'm just so used to the Panthers identity, whether it's George Seifert, John Fox, Ron Rivera, the identity has remained the same. It's always been run, defense, stop the run the ball. That's kind of been our thing. And whenever we get it right, like when we've got the personnel to do those things effectively, we're a playoff football team. We're a playoff franchise. I don't know if they've set that with the Matt Rhule era yet. And some of it's because he hadn't had McCaffrey. But like Sunday makes me wonder, well, what if he had McCaffrey? Like, I mean, he had him fresh 100%. He's never going to be healthier than he was on Sunday for the rest of the year. And you didn't use him. Like, he's just standing back there, and they're asking him questions in the press conference, and McCaffrey's just kind of trying to be civil and say the right thing. But you can see the gears in his head, like, why wasn't I being used? Like he's not used to not getting the ball like that. Like, it's one thing to prove you can move the ball without McCaffrey. I think it's kind of dumb to try to do it intentionally.
It's very dumb to do it intentionally. And one thing I have to say is we want you to showcase your players, but do it in a way that involves strategy.
Yeah.
Read the room, read the field. What are your players doing? What's working and what's not? Don't force the issue. It seemed like, McAdoo, like I said, West Coast offense, he got a quarterback. We're going to throw that thing. That's his mentality. So someone needs to address that.
Yeah, so it might not have been
early and often.
It might not have been a good idea to start the game off like that when you're going up against a defensive line that's got two pass rushers on it, David Clowney and Myles Garrett, and Garrett's getting guarded by your rookie first-round left tackle who's starting his first NFL game, and he's getting thrown in the deep. I don't even think they really helped him. They didn't really help Icky that much at all from what I saw. Like, they just left him out there on an island, no chips or nothing. So
he came around.
I saw McCaffrey get it a couple of times. McCaffrey's really good at that, picking up the blitz or whatnot. But for the most part, Icky was out there alone, and I think Garrett had 2 sacks, just disrupted all day. You could tell Baker was flustered. The good thing is I don't think we'll see a pass rush duo like that the rest of the year. Like, I can't think of another team we play that's going to be able to apply that kind of pressure that Cleveland did. And I can't think of a team that's going to run the ball, like dedicate to the run like Cleveland does. Maybe the Giants.
The Buccaneers could. I could see the Buccaneers.
Maybe the Bucks. So,
because the Buccaneers be playing smart football.
They do. I feel like Tom Brady's the offensive coordinator. Like, I feel like he's the one that's like literally drawing the plays like in the dirt. In the
Tom be like, "Oh, I got sacked. Hey, my shoulder. You want me to play next week?
Yeah, we ain't doing this.
Running the ball.
We are not doing this ball, regardless of where it goes. It's coming out my hands in 2 seconds. Like, it's gone. Let's get to the game here. Sunday, 1 p.m. on Fox. Carolina Panthers taking on the Cleveland Browns. Or not the Browns, excuse me, the New York Giants. I wrote down the Browns. I'm still thinking
that man he's still stuck in the past, man. Hey, everybody take a deep breath.
Giants. I'm writing it down. Giants.
Run it back, Cleveland.
Relax.
Panthers versus New York Giants. 1 p.m. on Fox. Keys to this game. Let's just go around real quick. What's the biggest key to this game for a Panthers victory in your mind, Stu?
The biggest key
one thing.
The one thing would be stop the run.
Pretty basic, effective, yeah.
Saquon Barkley, man. I mean, he's one of the most electrifying runners that we'll see, right? Mm-hmm. He can take it the distance at any point in time. High football IQ. I played with him for a year, his rookie year. His passion for football is out of this world. So if you have the mindset, with the Panthers defense, we got to stop that guy. That's the guy that this team runs with. If Saquon goes, the team goes. The energy level. So if you stop that, you stop the run game. The energy level might not always be there. Make Daniel Jones. I mean, it's really the same. In my mind, it's the same thing as the Cleveland Browns. We just gotta go in and actually execute. Stop the run and do our thing on offense.
Schuyler.
Tackle.
It's so basic this week.
how many missed tackles did they have last week? 18, and it equated for 190 yards. So, a lot of it comes in with their angles, pursuit.
Fitting gaps.
Yeah. You got a gang tackle again. They got to get back to what they were doing last year, and not just one dude, but like 3 or 4 dudes meet the guy at the ball.
Yeah, I mean, fitting gaps was a problem they had a lot last year, and I don't know what the problem is. It seems to be still an existing thing. You can kind of saw it in the preseason a little bit too. But I think you gotta have more guys around the ball too. If you got Nick Chubb 1-on-1 with a corner, or you got Saquon Barkley 1-on-1 with a safety, I don't know if you like your chances there, or even on a linebacker. I mean, you've got to have 2-3 guys flocking to the ball, and they didn't do that a lot on Sunday.
Yeah. We've touched on it in this episode. Well, I'm just going to keep it simple too. Use your best player. Use your best player. Christian McCaffrey I've said it on this podcast, he's one of the top 5 players in the NFL, period, when he's healthy. He's what, 26, 27? He's in his prime right now. What are you saving him for? Like, stop being worried about him getting hurt. Stop being worried about what everybody else is saying. Take the bubble wrap off and work this dude. Like, it's not like he's wore out. He hadn't played in 2 years. Like, he should be ready to rock and roll. Like, and kind of looking at his expressions in that post game, I kind of feel like he was thinking in his head, like, I'm fresh. Like, coach, give me the ball. I'll do whatever y'all need me to do. But I want to see. I think McCaffrey has to touch the ball 25 times in this game. Some kind of combo run, receptions. He needs 25 touches in this game for the Panthers to control the clock, which is something I'm wanting them to do. Especially they're going to do this West Coast offense thing. They got to mix in something to move these chains, and you've got the ultimate chain mover in McCaffrey. Like, it's rare for you. Stu, you could probably attest to this. It's rare for an opposing team each week to have to key in on one player that they have to stop. Most teams don't have a player like that, and we do. We have a player that the other team's defense is like, okay, what do we do with McCaffrey? What happens if he rolls out and he lines up in the slot? What do we do if they run this? What if he gets behind? Like, what are we doing? Are we going to shadow him? Are we going to do that? Like, they're planning for one guy. That takes up time in the week to plan for. And we didn't use that accordingly last week, in my opinion. Our best weapon needs to be used. So what do we got here? Our keys to the game: run the football, tackle, use your best player. I mean, that's literally where we are, Carolina Panthers. Like, we are at Pee-wee football level. Do these 3 things, and good things should potentially happen for the Panthers. If we don't tackle, run the ball, and give it to our best dude, bad things will probably happen.
I also think one thing too, like, our DBs this week have to be opportunistic. They have to be fundamentally sound, because this is a game where you can actually get an interception, get a strip fumble, whatever it is. Like, this is an opportunistic game. This is one of those types of games.
Yeah,
like
Daniel Jones can be had. I feel like you can rattle him.
Yeah, you can ravel him. Get him, like, defensive line got to get in his face, hands up while he's in the pocket, and you got to contain him too, because he can run, right?
So he got some wheels. Like, people don't talk about. They always talk about the was it last year when he had the run? It was like 70 yards, and he like tripped over his feet like at the end and didn't get in the end zone or something. Was that last year or year before? But I mean, he was like a good 5-10 yards ahead of the defense at that point. You got to keep money to run through them. So he literally took off. And I think the defense, whoever they were playing that day, just didn't realize he could take off. Please, don't let that happen.
You don't have to do anything special, defensive coordinator. Just make him make the mistakes.
I want to see this defense. It was a little disheartening because, I mean, that was the thing we hung our hat on last year, was the defense was solid from really they got better as the year went on, but they were pretty solid all year, and we're hovering around second, third, and overall yards allowed, right there with Buffalo, like for most of the year. And I didn't feel that last Sunday. Now, granted, a lot of that had to do with the team we were playing against and what they were doing. They did keep Jacoby Brissett kind of contained in the passing game. I think he threw for like 185 yards or something like that. But some of that might have been Cleveland's design. So I want to see this defense impose their will against the Giants this week. We saw the offense and defensive lines for Cleveland control that game. Carolina's got to do the same thing this week. The offensive line, the defensive line, they need to come out early and punch people in the face, because once they started getting pushed back in that first half it took them a whole half to kind of start fighting back. We can't wait. We can't start slow. We got to go fast, especially on the road. We got to do this thing, get it popping and going. There's a lot of guys on the team that lost that game last year too. So
stack the box and make Danny Dimes beat you.
Yep. We got the secondary to handle it if they stack the box. So I feel like the secondary is our strongest group, like position room. So
is that his name, Danny
Dimes?
Danny Dimes?
That's what they call him.
Didi.
That's what they call him. I
Danny
think they called him that
Dimes.
coming out of college too. I think it's just I never understood it, but
hey, I mean, Sam had the Slinging Sammy nickname last year.
Okay.
Slinging
Well,
Sammy.
hopefully we in quarters or something, and Danny Dimes throws us a pick.
Yeah, please. Let me see Dante head back. CJ Henderson, make up for last week and give me an interception, dude. Like we need one.
Yeah.
So
we'll get that money, baby.
We'll see if this hot seat for Matt Rhule gets any hotter. Sunday, 1 p.m. on Fox. The Panthers taking on the New York Giants. Week 2 of the NFL season. We'll be back Monday of next week to recap that game, give you our analysis of that. You can catch our episodes on the Bleav Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. There's there's a show for all 32 NFL teams. Each of them have a former player of that team on it. We're blessed to have Stu with us this season. If you want to listen to some of those other shows, you can do that on the Bleav Podcast Network or on Sirius XM. So for Jonathan Stewart, Schuyler Callihan from Sports Illustrated, I'm Desmond Johnson. Hopefully we'll be celebrating Panther Victory Monday here in a few days. But until then, keep pounding.